I really hope Dalton is using this footage to start the intro as opposed to the official intro. Hey everybody, it is David Nuno. We call this TexAgs Rewind, and we are presented by T-Mobile, and they want to remind you to visit... Pardon? Are you talking to her in my spot? Well, who am I talking about? What spot am I doing?
T-Mobile.
All right, making sure. I'm just kidding with them. Visit T-Mobile.com. They have great service. You know that. I've done it for a long time here on the show. All right, so on the program, before we get into it, Kennedy Kevin, you got upset with somebody a moment ago. I saw your face. You brought it to Emily Fiedler when it came to her not knowing Hey Jude. Can you kind of tell us a little about that little conversation?
She was talking about how she doesn't know any of the Beatles songs except for Here Comes the Sun, and I didn't angrily say it. I wasn't angry. Okay, maybe a little bit.
She's lying.
It was just a little bit. But I told her, I was like, you know more of the Beatles songs than you think. You hear them all the time. They're one of the most famous bands in the world. Ever.
You know, I'm just going to have to disagree with
Hey.
that one.
This one over here didn't know it either.
I don't know. Did y'all's parents not like...
They failed us. Yeah.
Thank you, Cody.
Steve and Lori.
Yeah, well, this segment got awkward. So let's just tell you what we talked about on the show. Kay, what's the first point that we talked about on the show? You can.
First show is Bank on It with Go
What?
Hour.
The first show is Bank on It?
First segment. Bank on It, Go Hour with Owen Buchanan.
He's good, isn't he?
Oh, so good.
Bird noises. You know what the second thing we did on that little thing?
We had Chris with the SEC Network.
You don't know how to say his last name, do you?
Nope,
I can
that's how
tell.
you pronounce it.
Chris Doering of the SEC Network with us. Kennedy, who else did we have?
We had Jake Hubenak, the former A&M quarterback.
I think I pronounced it differently. That's just me.
Look at that. too.
And let's mispronounce Billy's name. Who do we have on the show? You can do it.
Billy Liucci.
Okay, she said it correctly. We talked about 22 and 22 with Evan Stewart. He was our number 10. Wait, 11. Sorry, 11. I don't know how to do math. It's TexAgs Rewind. Bank on It, presented by Vera Bank. Authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at verabank.com. By the way, a lot of text messages coming in about the hated stuff. We're going to move on from that, but I do see you guys. OB, what are you banking on?
I'm changing to make it more personal. You know, bank on Owen Buchanan having a really difficult weekend.
You want to shed some light on what's going on?
Got to take my son. That's like all parents, especially parents of only child. My life has revolved around that young man for 18 years, and got to take him to drop him off at Baton Rouge tomorrow.
That's gotta make it harder, yeah.
LSU of all places. So I mean, if he'd gone almost anywhere else, I probably could handle it. But
You're going to be calling Baton Rouge the whole way there?
Maybe, you know, I'm really trying to get my head around what life's going to be like without my son, who is so important to us, living with us.
OB, I think that's beautiful. I do, because the biggest reason I made the move to TexAgs is to spend these next 4 years with my boys, man. So, yeah. So
it's going to be an emotional time.
Yeah. Let's talk a little wide receiver for a minute. You play the position at such a high level. We're very excited about Evan Stewart. Why does it take a freshman in college football a little bit longer to develop at that position? Because is it the mental side? Is it the strength of the DBs?
You know, I think it's a little bit of all of it. You know, you're asked to do a lot more with the more robust playbooks that you see in college than what you see in high school. Some of it is the competition. Obviously, I always felt like the jump was more challenging from high school to playing in the SEC for me than it was playing in the SEC to the NFL, just because of how talented the guys were every Saturday that I was playing against. And the majority of those guys were the guys I was playing against on Sundays in the NFL. But I also think, you know, there's a realization, and you see this from college to the NFL. Guys are better athletes than everybody else, so you just go out there and out-athlete everybody. And I think the thing that helped me, you know, be successful at Florida and then the NFL was, you know, I was not the best athlete. I was not the fastest. I was not the biggest. So I had to be more attention to detail oriented, more using the little things to be successful. And I was so lucky to have played for Coach Spurrier and Coach Dixon, who was our wide receiver coach, who taught the nuances of playing the wide receiver spot. I don't think there's a lot of people that really teach it that well. And so I do think I was brought up, you know, in a system that taught me the things I needed to do to not only be successful at Florida, but beyond that as I got to the NFL.
Do you have any thoughts on how and why maybe Saban uses the media so much to kind of coach his team, set an agenda, a narrative. If it's, the spread offenses back in the day, if it's, NIL, if it's the Jimbo stuff, if it's expectations. Obviously, he's the master of it, the GOAT, but, give me a little bit of what you think his methodology is there.
I think it's incredibly effective, and I think it's been proven to be incredibly effective. It's a great way to get the message out there to whoever you're trying to get the message out to. I was just talking to somebody a little earlier today. When I was coming through, there were a lot of people that were against doing interviews and didn't necessarily want to spend time with the media. For me, it was a great way for me to connect with the fans out there and let them know who I am a little bit more. And I think Coach Saban has been one of the first that's understood that the media can be an ally when you're trying to get messages out. Even going back, there was a while where a lot of coaches were very conspiracy theory oriented and want to keep everything close to the vest and didn't want to let media around. And he was one of the first to open it up. They did the all access thing with ESPN 10 or more years ago where, people are coming in and get to see the inner workings of the Alabama program. And essentially that was a full day of recruiting out there for the folks that were going to be playing, high school football and aspirations of playing beyond. So I think he just amazes me at how well he's been able, even at an advanced age, to stay ahead of what everybody else is doing and showing a willingness to adapt as things evolve.
Let's talk a little football. I know that you're active on TexAgs.
Yeah, for sure.
You see the stuff going on. 3 really good quarterbacks. Just overall, how comfortable and how happy are you about the quarterback room here at Texas A&M?
Yeah, I mean it's the best I can remember in a while, and it's hard to say that when I've been there, but yeah, these guys they're really good, and I think I listened to, I think I threw a tweet out about the Luchador podcast the other day, and that's because Billy was talking about every single one of them, and I think he'd be a good salesperson too, because he had me convinced on every single one of them when he talked about them. But I mean, it's just you look at each individual one and you think, I mean, they'd be incredible. They'd be a good fit. And I think really what it's going to come down to is fit, what Jimbo really wants, what direction he wants the offense to move in, because I think they all have such unique skill sets and what they can do. And, Haynes is so dynamic in the way that he can run, and also, obviously throws the ball really well. He wouldn't be in this position. He wouldn't have won the job already last year. And then you've got Max, who's got, the experience, and the accuracy that he throws the ball with. And then also he's got that, sneaky fast to him as well that I think we saw in the spring game. And then, everybody says it, but, Connor's just electric. I think he's a guy that at some point, whether it's this year or down the road, there's no way you can keep that guy off the field. So looking forward to whoever it ends up being. And I think as Aggies, we should be excited about knowing that whoever won this job really had to earn that spot. It's not just, I think competition truly breeds excellence. And I think that's the best thing for these guys right now.
So obviously competition is going to determine who the starter is, but I do know a couple weeks back you were really high on Max. What about Max did you like heading into camp?
I think, kind of like how I was talking fit earlier, I think if that receiver room really comes along like it seems like it is, you've obviously got Evan Stewart. Everybody's raving about him. You've got guys like Anias and Chase Lane coming back. People are talking about Keith Brown looking really good. And I think kind of the X factor right now when you lose a guy like Caleb Chapman is a guy like Chris Marshall coming in. And I think we've all seen the flashes of brilliance from him. And, obviously the coaches know a little bit more than we do, but I think if he can really put it together, I think just what Max offers as a whole, being able to, and I'm in no way am I comparing this to the Alabama offense of a couple of years ago when they had Mac Jones, but I think he is kind of a fit like that where he can distribute the ball to the guys, it's supposed to go to, and not to say that the other guys can't, but I think that just he's, a pass first guy. He can get the ball in the hand. I mean, then you look in the backfield of a guy like A-Chain, it's just, there's so many options that I think we haven't had in the past couple of years that I think he would just be a really good fit in the offense. But, ultimately Jimbo knows best, and we're going to trust his decision.
That's likely to be our worst pick on this list. To have him at 11. I think he's top 5 kind of guy ultimately. It's always hard to play the snap, especially on a veteran team. like the Aggies have, because there's so many proven guys, proven SEC guys. So it's always tough to put a guy up that high, but I think he probably should be. But we'll leave him at 11. I think before long, you're going to have other teams checking with TexAgs going, if that guy was the 11th guy, best guy on the team, you guys really stink at what you do. But I think he's special, Nuno. I think he's instant impact for sure. But as far as first impressions go, and I like Jimbo said, someone said, have you ever seen a receiver pick it up that quickly? And he said, yeah, he has. But he's also, what he was getting at later is he's recruited some elite players in his day. And just like A&M, have I ever seen a guy more ready to make a significant day one impact? The answer is like, yeah, I have. But there are guys like Christian Kirk and Myles Garrett, and go way back to like a Ty Warren, Sammy Davis, these guys that ended up being first, second round pick. Christian would have been a first rounder had he come back for a senior year. It's worked out great for him. You look at the contract he just signed, but we're talking about great players. And that's what Evan Stewart's going to be, because he's got everything. He's got the mental side of it. He's got the insane physical gifts. He's not going to be the fastest guy on the team. He's not going to be the biggest, but he's got plenty of size for a receiver. He's not a big receiver at all, but he's not tiny. He's got all kinds of speed, but it's just the way he plays. He's very fast, but he's even quicker than he is fast. So the change of direction, knowing what he's doing, and kind of like that spatial awareness to go up and feel the defensive back while also not losing track of the football. I mean, he's got uncoachable gifts, yet he's very coachable as well. And he learns. He's a quick learner. So,
Because I say close out. I hope he's involving this too. So how do we close out the show?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
She's learning. She's about to.
What you saying too?
Like, comment, subscribe.
I try to give everybody equal time on the show.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Is there anything else you guys want to provide?
Retweet it. Here you go. Show your grandma.
I just want it to be an awkward end. What'd you just say?
Show your grandma.
Shove your grandma.
Why was that the first thing you come up with?
Grandma. Her grandma's
Share it to all your friends, and I
Well.
consider my grandmother my friend. So.
I thought you said shove your grandma. Like push. Is that what you heard?
No.
You heard it too.
No.
Definitely.
Do not do that.
Anybody who puts shove your grandma in the comments, I will comment back to you this weekend. I 100% promise. Thanks for watching.